Hello and welcome to the Discover Dayton podcast, the show that's all about the Gem City's past, present, and future. Today I'm excited to talk to a local business that's all about cheese, one of my favorite foods. Annie Foos is the owner of St. Anne's Cheese, which is based out of St. Anne's Hill, and whose mission is to change the world one nibble of cheese at a time. Cheese has been a huge part of Annie's family for generations, so I'm excited to talk to her about that history and more, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the show, and thanks so much for talking with me today.
Thanks, Arch, for letting me cheese with you.
Absolutely. Well, so I definitely want to get to, your cheese business, of course, which we will. But before that, I'd love to talk about your family history a bit, because when I was looking at your website, it's pretty clear that cheese has been in your family for a long time. So maybe could you start off by telling us a little bit about your great-grandparents?
Yeah, long story short, they came from Vienna area, Czechoslovakia, and came over to Chicago in the Wisconsin area. And they brought actually cheese equipment that I still have to this date over here, and honed in on their cheese while they were in Wisconsin. And my great-grandpa, at that time, they had the silent movies and the Wild West movies were coming out, and he just wanted to be a cowboy. So he packed up 2 cows and all his family on a train and went down to Oklahoma and proceeded to live the rest of his life being a Czech cowboy, if you could say, down in Oklahoma, and made cheese. So my grandparents and parents, they passed down lots of the recipes, lots of desserts and sweets, had cheeses like sour cream cheese, recipes that they brought. So it wasn't just cheese making, it was also combining cheese with other food forms was really important in our household.
That's really cool. Well, and then, fast forwarding to you, I know you went on a cheese journey yourself not too long ago that took you not only to some other states, but also to some other countries. So tell me about that journey, if you could.
So in the cheese world, I think it's a lot like the craft beer and wine world, is that it's a very collaboratory community. And just there's so many different types of cheeses and so many different processes all over the world. You're always invited into the cheesemaker's world. And so right before all of the craziness happened, I spent a lot of time in Switzerland and in Germany and in some of the most famous caves, in the world, to understand processes like Swiss cheese, Gruyere, washed rind monastery cheeses, to see the thousands of years, hundreds of years that some of those cheeses have been developed and made.
That's really cool. I'm jealous. That sounds like an awesome trip.
Oh, super fun.
Well,
and just how people, just sitting with locals and eating like raclette by a mountainside, something so simple as just bread and cheese and wine and gathering with people, that is done so frequently around the world. It's not just America. So that communion sort of with other people is very special.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, finally, getting to your business, I'm really curious how it started and also how your educational background plays a role in the business.
Yeah, so like probably lots of kids and grandkids, they don't think what their family does is that cool, or you don't early on want to do anything that they're doing. So I went to college up in South Bend, Indiana, St. Mary's College and University of Notre Dame, where my dad had gone as well. And so fell into the biology and chemistry track. Just loved the science of food at that time, the science of just everything, and got out and went into the world of pharmaceutical sales. So that was really a great experience for about 15 years to sell products and I had to be able to articulate the science behind those products. And a lot of those bacteria, germs, and everything else have ended up being kind of common day discussion, when we talk about cheese.
Oh, wow.
There was quite the link. And when I retired basically from pharmaceutical sales, my husband owns a law firm here in town. And so he was getting settled and doing a lot of things in Dayton. And so it helped him for a little period of time and fell into this hard.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I know one of the things that you all do is cheese distribution. So I'd love to talk about hear about the cheeses that you carry. So if you could tell me about some of those and maybe where they come from too.
Yeah, so at different times of the year, we do different cheeses because I'm trying to tell a story of the world cheese story. And this is different than other cheesemakers and kind of avenues that they go, but that's of interest to me. So we're getting ready to go into like this weekend, we're going to do Easter cheese, Jewish traditions in cheese for Passover. So then we'll get through that. And then we're going into the Italian world of how to make mozzarella cheese, what's burrata, what's gorgonzola through the summertime.
That's really interesting. I wouldn't have even thought of like a Easter cheese. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So, it would be more light cheese as opposed to like, I don't think most people think at Easter time you would bring the fondue pot out.
Right. That makes sense.
Right. It's not really a fondue holiday. It's not really grilled cheese. It's not beer cheese, time. So it's kind of a light cheese, charcuterie board, cheeses with fruit, are starting to come into play, and just doing really fun things of putting a chicory board, as we call it, sort of together.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of charcuterie boards, I know you all sell things besides cheese. So what else do you have on your store?
So we work with a lot of artisans. I particularly like artisans from Ohio. And for instance, we have about 3 woodworkers that custom make cheese boards. So we'll get requests of all types. So for instance, somebody wants something corporately for a gift, and that might be in the shape of Ohio, or it might be in the shape of something for the business. So we can now custom make boards for our customers. We can also use those boards as we teach classes, for people to elevate their cheese game at home.
Very cool. And speaking of classes, you also, describe yourself as a cheese education company. So what does that mean? And what kind of ways do you do cheese education? And I'm really curious about the cheese squad that I saw mentioned on your website too. What is all that?
So cheese educate, we're just, again, trying to change the world one nibble of cheese at a time. And so in order to do that, education is very important because we want to get people, especially Americans, to move off Velveeta or processed cheese product to actual cheese. So much of, when kids are young, that they're exposed to processed products. So part of that is to get folks understanding, why a real cheddar is great, or why blue is an awesome cheese and not a scary cheese. What is it about a goat cheese that's actually incredible and amazing? So that takes a lot of education because people either come from a certain area, like if you come from Wisconsin, you love cheddar, and chances are you maybe have never had exposure to blue cheese. If you've grown up in the South, you have one taste. Out in Vermont, you may be eating cheddar and apple pie. So, education is a huge part of the cheese world.
Well, I forgot what is the cheese squad though?
Okay, so the cheese squad when we have a handful of classes, and I'll share something we're launching actually today. So we pop up with lots of businesses in Ohio. to do specific classes partnering with products, whether that's chocolate, wine, craft beer, arts. And as you graduate from class to class, and you get to 4 classes under your belt, basically, you can qualify to participate on our cheese squad. And that could be for special events like you saw down at the Dayton Arcade, different larger events that we have, that those folks would help us do more high-level cheese adventures.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really cool.
Do you want to be on the cheese squad, Art?
I kind of do now, yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, we might bring them up to a farm. We may, need some animal help or milking help. So they get to do some of the more behind the scenes, just really awesome things and the intimacy of cheese.
That's very cool. I might need to follow up with you more about that.
We'd love to have you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. One class, though, that you do that I was really interested in was a wine/beer and cheese pairing. So I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So, for instance, tomorrow night, I'll give a shout out to Old Schoolhouse Winery out in Eaton. They make some of their own wines, use Ohio grapes. So we will select some cheeses that partner with their particular wines. And we can do this at a variety of different businesses as well. I've found that most people don't really know how to pair wines and cheeses or beers and cheeses together. So we really can have, we'll pick 3 or 4 cheeses, 3 or 4 of their wines, and give them examples of what works and what's a disaster.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So
I could use that.
and the flavor profiles of what all is going on is fascinating. So we get into a lot of that. And Ohio, the wineries are really kind of up in their game, and the grapes are getting better. It's not all sweet wine, which I think a lot of people think Ohio wine is. There's a lot of businesses, popping up as well as craft beers that are really super fun to work with and collab with.
Awesome. Well, I might need to check one of those out as well soon. I happen to notice also that you're a member of the Ohio Cheese Guild and the American Cheese Society, which I was not really familiar with either of those. So I'm curious, what are those and what does it mean to be a member?
Yes, so cheese membership is super fun. Unlike other organizations that I watch my friends have to go sit through meetings with. So I can't imagine sitting through a boring meeting. The Ohio Cheese Guild is made up of Ohio cheesemakers from all over the state, doing a variety of different cheeses and having exposure to a lot of different animals, whether that be goat, sheep, or cow, or yak. And so we all get together and we all bring a cheese sample and we'll sit, and taste each other's cheese and kind of grade it and talk about what's good about it, what's bad about it, what, will go on the market. So it's a really great check for us in the Ohio farm agricultural cheese world to check in. And food safety. We talk a lot about food safety to improve that. And then the American Cheese Society is that, on a larger scale. This year, the big meeting is in Portland. So the West Coasters, will talk a lot more about what's going on that maybe we in Ohio don't know about.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, that does sound like a club that's more fun than some of the ones I'm a member of. In addition to your website, there are some other places that carry your products as well. Where are some other places people could find those?
So our cheese and cheese that we make with other cheesemakers and other animals are all over the state. Some that we label, some are under other labels. But for instance, in the Columbus, we're in grocery stores in Columbus, to a lot of the farmers markets around here. And Dorothy Lane sells a cheese that we have in the shape of Ohio that we're real proud of. That's a Ohio proud product.
Oh, nice.
So, and then we also do it online. So a lot of different avenues.
Well, speaking of online, how could people find out more if they want to learn more about purchasing the cheese or maybe signing up for one of your educational events?
Sure. So we have a website, saintannscheeseco.com. And we put a lot of the information up there. We have social and Instagram and Facebook, so people can follow sort of the cheese story on those different links. We also do a lot of private cheese adventures. So we, if people are looking for a specific cheese for a party that they're having in their own home or their business, we do that. We go into a lot of nonprofits. If people are looking to do something to raise money and need cheese, we also do that. And you can connect with us at saintannscheeseco.com on those type of projects.
Awesome. Are there any upcoming events that people might want to check out?
Yeah, so we're just announcing today and teasing it out. We are going to be doing a Summer Cheese Academy at Grist in downtown Dayton. We've worked on a teaching kitchen there for the past year, and they finally completed it. And so St. Anne's Cheese will be doing wine and cheese pairings on Wednesday evenings. And then we will be teaching classes like how to make mozzarella cheese in your own kitchen, how to elevate your cheese game, with burrata, gorgonzola, truffles. So those will be on Sunday afternoons and available for the whole family. So we're really excited about our Summer Cheese Academy.
That's very cool. When does that start?
That'll start June 1st.
Awesome. Is there anything else coming up soon?
So we have a beer and cheese pairing up in Kettering at Nowhere in Particular Cabinet of Curiosities. And we'll be using a lot of their craft beers and combining that with cheese. So that'll be coming up. And then we're working on an ethnic cheese and dessert workshop with Evans Bakery. This past year, we have done an Irish cheese and dessert program. We did a Hungarian one last month, and we're doing a Jewish cheese and cookie program, and then a Turkish one coming up in June. So Evans Bakery has a long history here in Dayton, and that collaboration in their kitchen, just from a worldwide story, is important to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and talking with me. It's been great, and I really appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to have to check out some of these classes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arch. Keep up doing the work.
Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, that was my interview with Annie Foos of St. Anne's Cheese, a local cheese distribution and education company. As you heard, there's a lot of opportunities you have to learn more about cheese with Annie, so be sure to check out her website and sign up for something. Thank you so much for listening, and please leave a review or share this episode with a friend. Take care and stay funky, Dayton.